Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, dear students. Good morning, good afternoon, sorry. Today, inshallah, we are going to continue our life lesson, the end of Unit 1, 10B, stories. It's about writing, okay? By the end of this lesson, you will be able, hopefully, to make predictions about a story using pictures, read and understand a famous legend, the Kraken, read and order pictures, write a summary of the plot of the Kraken, and identify synonyms, similes, and metaphors in the Kraken as well. Okay, the Kraken is a legend. Okay, do you know any stories about myths or legends? Where is the story set? The setting of the story. Who are the main characters in the story? Characters. What happens in the story? Can you tell me one? I'll give you one. The Snake Prince. Okay, I think you have watched this on cartoons, you have watched it and you have listened to it from our fathers. The Snake Prince. It's in your book on page 55 of your skills book. One day in a small village, okay, so what is the setting here? A small village. An evil stepmother, okay, one character here, told her kind daughter, another character, to collect some crooked pieces of wood for the fire. So you can see the setting, the place of the story or the legend. The daughter worked hard searching for the special pieces of wood. Soon the poor daughter sat down on the pile of wood she had gathered and started to cry. Okay, she knew that whatever she gave her stepmother would not be good enough. Whatever she gave, her stepmother would not be satisfied. While she was sitting, a snake, okay, another character here, slithered by and started to talk to the girl. He asked the daughter about her problem. At first, the girl was shocked. A snake is talking, and scared by the snake, but soon realized that it was a caring creature and explained her problem. The snake agreed to help and asked her to hide him inside the bundle of wood and take him back to her house. Okay, so you can see by the beginning of the story or the legend, the characters are introduced, the setting of the place are introduced, almost you know what's going on the story. He explained that when her stepmother saw him, she should ask her stepmother's permission to marry him. The girl followed the snake's plan and returned home with the wood and the animal inside it. Okay, when the stepmother saw the sticks, she shouted that the wood wasn't twisted enough and kicked the stack of wood angrily. Suddenly, she saw the snake slither out towards her as if it was about to attack. The wicked stepmother was frightened and screamed at the daughter to remove the snake from the house. The girl agreed as long as she could marry the snake. Okay, so there is a condition. She is following the snake's procedures. The mother agreed to this and told the prince told the daughter to leave the house with the snake. As they left, the creature suddenly changed into a handsome prince. So the snake became what? Prince. He was witched because the girl had been good to the snake. The prince, this is the end. Okay, the prince thanked the girl for caring about him when others had been cruel. he asked the girl to marry him and live in the palace, where she wouldn't have to walk carrying wood again. Unfortunately for the stepmother, she has had to do all her own work ever since. Now, as you can see here, we have three main things in a story or a legend, whatever. Start, the beginning, okay, the middle, and the end. There's even more things about that. We will talk about it later on. But I want just to grab your attention on something. Because it's a story, look at the tense that it's used here. Of course, it's what? Yes, Ahmed? Very good. Past tenses. Okay, past simple, past perfect, or past continuous. Okay? Now, this was just an example. Now, let's move to our book. Class book, page 10. Okay, class book, page 10. Read and order. Read the story, The Kraken. Here you have the story on page 10. Page 11. Put the pictures A to I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, from activity 1 into the correct order. So, according to the story, which picture is number 1, then number 2, number 3, number 4, etc. until the end. Okay? Now, I'll give you 1 minute to try to figure out the order, to order the pictures, and at the same time, I want to see your answers here. Okay? While answering, the one who has answered, please join the quiz, live quiz, so you can show me your answers. Which one is number 1? You just need to write either the letter. Okay, just write what? The letter here. You just write the letter. You have a number, then you write either A or B or C or D or E or F or G or H or I. Okay? Let's see. So we have seen here, some has already finished. Well done. Have already finished. Some have already finished. Let's see. Jinan Al-Ma'mari. Wa'ad Aziz. Nice. Just to show you something here. There is no problem at all. Let's just, okay, just 10 have already, just 10 have finished. Can we have more? Okay, I can see some names like Wa'ad Aziz. I don't know if any other have participated before, which is a good sign. Okay, let's start our quiz because we don't have much time. So let's see your answers here. You just write the what letter. Okay, just write the letter. So which one is number 1? Which picture number 2? And so according to the story, the Kraken. Okay, let's see. Nice. He's going to get number 1. So this is the Kraken story. You can read it while you are answering. So the year was 17 what? 52. The setting, Captain Sven and his men. So he has a crew, captain with a crew. Set sail on board the ship. So you can see the setting on a ship. Characters as well. The ship's name, Horizon. On a cold December day, cold weather, December day. Everyone knew that when you sailed with Captain Finn, you always returned with a boat full of fish. He's a lucky man, what can we say? But today was different. The Horizon had sailed, the name of the ship, had sailed far out to sea when, without warning, the wind died. No wind, so there's no wind. The crew began to feel anxious and gloomy about being stranded at sea. They sat around a warm fire while Captain Finn told stories about pirates. But the icy fingers of the wind still chilled their bones. Okay, let's see. Let's see your answers. Oh. Can we see any finishers here? Okay. About to finish is Ward Busaidi, Maha, May. They are about to finish the last. Finished already. Nice. They have finished already. Good. Very nice. Okay, I can see that you've got a little problem here. Sorry. So when reading, don't be in a hurry. Just read carefully. Read between the lines. Okay, read between the lines. Where were we? Suddenly, one of the sailors turned as white as a ghost. Look here. What do we call these things? He pointed with a trembling finger, trembling like the trembling finger. The sea was dancing. Look here, past continuous. Captain Finn saw what looked like a massive island surrounded by fish. Massive island surrounded by fish. Look here. But the island was moving. Strange. How can an island move? It came closer and closer to the ship. Realizing the danger, Captain Finn ordered his crew to light as many torches as they could from the fire. For a moment, the dancing stopped, and there was only silence. Then the sea exploded. There was a huge, look here, a huge what? Cracking noise as something hit the ship. A colossal tentacle appeared. Here, this is tentacles. You can see here the hands. These are tentacles. Captain Finn knew at once that this creature was the Kraken, a terrifying sea monster. A massive tentacle smashed the deck of the ship. More and more tentacles appeared as the Kraken tried to drag the ship into the depths of the ocean. Try to drag it to the depth of the ocean. The crew fought bravely, very brave. They scorched the creature's tentacles with their torches. The creature roared with pain. Its breath smelled like rotten fish and death. Then, as unexpectedly as it had appeared, the Kraken disappeared. Back into the depth of the ocean, all that remained were the fish that had been swimming around it. The crew threw their nets into the sea and caught more fish than they had ever seen. As if that was not enough good fortune for one day, the wind picked up and they sailed back to their homes and families. Okay, let's see your answers here. Already done? Well done. Many of you got correct answers. 11 and 10 incorrect. 50%. Okay. No problem. So let's see the answers here. These are the answers. So number 1 is G. Okay. Number 2, H. 3, A. 4 I, 5 E, 6 B, 7 C, 8 D. Look at the fish they caught here. And the last one, 9 F. Okay, well done, dear students. Let's move to our next activity. Here, language review. Go to page 11 now, class book page 11. You have studied earlier metaphors, synonyms, and similes. So you must know them by now. Read the Kraken one more time and find the following items in the story. So find 2 metaphors, 3 synonyms for the word big, big, and 2 similes. Okay? I'll make it easy for you. Cannot be more easy or easier than this. So we have here, big means something huge, massive. Colossal means very big. Okay? Anything else? Very good. What about the similes? Remember, what words are connected with a simile? As and what? Like. Very good. As and like. Okay. What about metaphors? They are literal. You cannot understand them literally. You have to what? Dig more to find the answers. Okay. Let's go on now. Here are the answers. Well done, dear students. 2 metaphors. The metaphors in the story is what? The icy fingers of the wind. The wind doesn't have fingers. Okay? Icy fingers of the wind. The sea exploded. It's not a bomb, but it's exploded. It's like a bomb. A simile. Okay, 2 similes. As white as a ghost. Stunned. Okay, another simile. It's breath. Smelled like what? Like rotten fish and death. 2 similes. Well done. What about the synonyms of big? Huge, colossal, and what? Massive. Very good. Now let's move to another activity here. Now let's move to the other book, which is skills book. Okay, skills book. Let's talk about the Kraken in a little bit more details here. So are you with me? Good. Imagine you are describing the setting of this scene from the Kraken. This scene from the Kraken. Write a description in your exercise book. Today I need you to write something, okay? Use the ideas around the pictures. The picture here, we have a picture. We have some ideas here. Use these ideas to help you. Remember to use what you have studied earlier, past tenses. Okay. Number 1, time. You have to decide the time of the day. Look at the picture and look. What's the time? Can you guess? The time of the year. When was it? The year, century. It's written at the beginning of the story. Number 2, the weather. Describe the sky. Describe the weather. How is it? Okay, how was it? Okay, you can talk about colors, patterns, temperatures, and wind. How was the wind? Died as in the Kraken, or windy, or what? Okay, look at the captain here. Screaming. 3, landscape. Describe the buildings, people, and animals in the picture. Can you see here? Animals, people, location, color, age, size. Look at the size of the men. They are very strong. Okay, poor guy. What about the senses here? Number 4. Use your senses to describe the setting. Use your senses. What did you see? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you smell? Okay. Images. Use. Now this one, number 5, similes, metaphors are very important in a story. These are the things that make the story very, very interesting. Okay. And you want to have interesting stories. You want to say or tell interesting stories, or you want to write interesting stories. Make sure that you include similes and metaphors. Okay. And synonyms as well. Synonyms are important. Okay. The kraken was as big as a whale, very big. That its tentacles were deadly weapons. Look at the weapon here. Very deadly. Squeeze the body. Okay. Now you should write now what? A description. In your exercise book, use the ideas around the pictures here as we talked now. Use these ideas, and remember, use the past tenses. Past tenses. What's the past tenses we have studied? Yes, Salim, very good. Abdul Aziz, good. Past simple, past continuous, and past perfect. Well done. Okay, now let's brainstorm. Let's go to page 9, same book, page 9, activity 3. What's brainstorm, guys? What's the brain? This is your brain. Storm. When you brainstorm, when you want to write, sometimes it's good to brainstorm. Brainstorm means what? Write, it's like a storm. Write everything and anything. Don't focus whether this is correct or incorrect. Just write down for 10 to 15 minutes. Write everything that comes to your mind. This is brainstorming. You are going to write your own story. Yes, I believe some of you are good writers. Your story can be from any what? This one. Who can read this? Yes, Sultan? Jinn? No, not Jinn. Genre? No. Yes, Abdullah? Well done, Abdullah. Genre. It's not genre, not jinn. Abdullah. It's genre. Make sure that you articulate it correctly. Pronounce it as genre. Type. And you can write about any topic. Now, it's free now. You are not stuck to a topic. You just write about any topic. Story about any topic. Brainstorm ideas for your story. Make some notes below. Okay? I'll help you now to make some notes here. Now, what type of story is it? Okay? Is it a legend? It's a myth? It's what? What type of story? Is it an action story? It's a Hillary story? What type of story is it? Characters. Who are the characters? Okay, it's a family, mother, father, people, friends. What are the characters? You say who are the characters. The setting, where and when. What did it happen? The story. And when. Okay, it was in the forest, for example. It was in 2020, for example. Where exactly? You can say the the exact time, the exact place. You can talk about the weather, about any other things. Okay, useful words that you think can be used in your story. Okay, you can use this story. Try to write more synonyms. Okay, more synonyms, similes, metaphors. Use them more. Okay, remember here a learning strategy. Remember to use descriptive language such as synonyms, similes, and metaphors to make your writing more interesting, as I told you earlier. Now, as I told you, the story is not just what? A story is not just beginning, middle, or end. This is the basic thing. You have introduction, body, conclusion, beginning, middle, end. But there is a lot more to that basic plot, more than the basic plot structure than just generally speaking. Every plot has these five elements in this order, okay? Not just introduction, main part, ending, no. 5 elements, and focus here. First one is the beginning. First one is what? Is the beginning. Introduce the main characters and the setting, time, when, place, where, and atmosphere. Okay, what? Now the first part of the plot establishes the main characters, like what we talked at the beginning. It was about the snake. Remember? So what were the characters? Yes, stepmother, daughter, full daughter, and the snake, who turned later to be a prince. And setting. Okay, so where and when. We get to know who is who here in the introduction, in the beginning of the story. While talking about these things, you must talk about who's who. This is the poor daughter working hard for the stepmother. Okay, stepmother, an evil creature, there is a snake. So you get a general idea about who are there, who are the characters, and where is the setting, okay? As well as when, where the story takes place. At this point, the reader is just getting to know the world of the story and what's going to be all about. Now, by the beginning, by talking about by your introduction of the story, as a reader, at this point, I have to know, you have to tell me what's going on, who is who, what are the characters, okay, where are they, setting, the characters, and the little bit of the story, okay. Second is the rising action. So there must be an action, okay, rising action. In this part of the plot, the primary conflict or clash is introduced. Maybe sometimes it's earlier. If it hasn't been already introduced in the introduction, sometimes it's already there in the introduction, and is built upon to create tension. Okay, both within the story and the reader. Okay, there is tension. There is tension in the story, and in the reader as well. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, poor creature. What's going to happen later? How is she going to respond? Other things. There is tension in the story, so it must be here in the rising action. Who should ideally be feeling more and more drawn to the text. You have to attract me to the text as a reader. I want to read more, okay? At this point, you must attract me to make me read more and more, okay? The conflict may affect one character or multiple characters. Now, the conflict here can affect one or more. Okay, not just one. Sometimes it can affect more than one person in the story, one character in the story. Okay, let's continue. Now, the big moment, the climax. The third element of the plot is what? The climax. What's the climax? This is the most important part of the story, okay? The most important part of the story. The climax is the biggest plot point. the dilemma, the problem, which puts our characters in a situation wherein a choice must be made that will affect the rest of the story. Be careful here. Here, when you reach this point, the main character or characters here, when reaching the climax, they have to make a choice, or he has or she has to make a choice, and the choice will affect the rest of the story. Okay, the rest of the story. Okay, the next one is what? The following action. The following action. So here, this is when the tension has been released. So the tension is what? Released. There is no more tension, not tensed. And the story begins to wind down. Opened the door, open the lockers, locker by a locker, opened everything, so solve the problem. Try, about to be solved, not yet solved. Begins to wind down. We start to see the results of the climax. Here are the results of the climax. Remember, we talked about the climax as what? The high point of the story. Okay? And after the climax comes the results. What results of the climax? The choice that made by the writer here, the storyteller, what affects what? Here, the end of the rest of the story, the following action. So here we see what results of the climax and the main character's actions, and get a sense of what this means for them and the world they inhabit. Inhabit means, very good, live in, live. How did their choices affect themselves and those around them? So there's a choice that has to affect you and the people around you, or the characters around you. As the main character, this affects you and the people around you. Okay. Now let's go to the last point of our plot, which is what? The resolution, the solution. The final plot, the result of the conflict and how the problem will be solved. In other words, this final plot point is when everything has been wrapped up, everything is wrapped up, and the new world and the new sense of normalcy for the characters has been established. So there's a new word here, new ending. The conflict from the climax has been resolved. The conflict has been resolved. We talked about what? A dilemma here, a problem, then was about to be solved. Now at the end, we solved what? The climax. And all loose ends have been neatly tied up. Okay, everything is tied up. Now we reach the end of the story. The end of the story. This is how you should write your story. Be careful with this one. I'll give you an example. Do you know William Shakespeare, the great English writer, if not the greatest in English history? He wrote a play called Hamlet. A play, by the way, what's a play? Okay, called Hamlet. مسرحية. Introduction. In the introduction, the ghost of Hamlet's father, the former king, appears one night instructing his son to avenge his death of killing. Okay, Claudius. Rising action. Hamlet struggles to commit to avenging his father's death. So there's a struggling, rising action. And the climax, Hamlet stabs and kills Polonius, believing it to be his uncle. Following action, Hamlet is sent to England, but manages to avoid execution and instead returns to Denmark. Resolution, the end. As he lay dying, Hamlet tells Horatio to make Fortinbras the king of Denmark and to share his story. You see? Now, by now, you should be writing your first draft of your story in your exercise book. Okay, now first drafts don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be perfect. They just have to be written. You just write it down. The first is the first draft. Don't be bothered about mistakes and other things. Okay, you just have to write it down. That's it. The activity is cancelled in your book, but it's good after writing your first draft to check your steps. Have you written a clear genre? Yes or no? Okay. I have included all the stages of a plot, the 5 stages of a plot. Have you included them? Okay, I believe you will. I have described the setting. Did you describe the setting? I have used narrative past tenses, past perfect, past simple, past continuous. I have used descriptive language including a simile or a metaphor. Make sure that you include them. It makes your writing excellent. I have used direct and reported speech. It's good to use direct and reported as well. But when direct, remember, we took it earlier, use the present tense. With direct, use present tense. I have used capital letters and punctuation marks. Oh, we come to grammar. I have checked my work for grammatical and spelling errors. Okay, this one you could check it in the second draft. Okay, in the second draft you could check the grammar, spelling. Never ever submit a first draft, at least third draft. Okay, dear students, now it's time for you to write your homework, to write your own story, and I want to teach you something. When you say thank you by the end of the lesson, don't just say thank you. There are many ways of saying thank you. For example, thanks for listening. I'm thanking you for listening. I can say thanks. If a friend, I can say I can't thank you enough. That means thank you very, very much. I can't thank you enough. And thank you so much. Another way of saying thank you. Thanks a bunch. Okay, thanks a lot. And in response, you can say what? You are welcome. Anytime. Don't mention it. Glad to help. My pleasure. No problems. No worries. Thank you very much and see you in the next lesson, inshallah. Thank you a lot.